mysterious malfunction at a press conference today. We will talk about it. Also, Hillary Clinton is back. Now she's blaming Republicans for the summertime. So is it hot? If it's hot in the summer, apparently that's the fault of MAGA Republicans. We'll give you our thoughts. UFOs going to have a little discussion there. And of course, the headline of the night, we will be reacting to Tucker Carlson's interview with Ice Cube, because what can I say? It is interesting to say the least. That's all coming up. Stay tuned. And we are live tonight from the great state of Florida. Welcome everyone to the Vince Dow Show. It is July 26th, the year of our Lord 2023, and I am your Galaxy Brain host, Vince Dow. Before we begin, everyone be sure to leave a like right now on the stream, and of course, subscribe to the channel if you are new. A couple of announcements before we begin tonight, okay? So got two things I do want to bring up here and mention, all right? Which, by the way, is this stream going fine? I'm getting like a dropped frames thing, so let me know if it's like glitching out for you guys. It might just be on my end. And that might be because of the fact, folks, announcement tonight, for the first time ever, I believe, I'm not even sure, I believe we are streaming to Rumble. In fact, let me see if it's even working, because I honestly have no idea. Is there a real Rumble stream? To Rumble. It happening? In fact, let me see if it is. Okay, working, we are streaming on Rumble. Okay, so that's the first time tonight, and yeah, that's about it. Just want to let you guys know that. Is the tech going fine, guys? Zero lag or glitches here. Okay, then I think we're good. I just was making sure. I didn't want to have another scare. But all right, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, let's just get right into our stories for tonight. All right, folks, again, like I said, got to talk about Mitch McConnell, Hillary Clinton, this UFO thing. But first and foremost, we need to react to the Tucker Carlson Ice Cube interview. Why? Because I don't know what to say. It's just simply interesting. It is by far one of the most interesting things we have seen as of late. And it's funny because Ice Cube, right? You might remember him under the Trump presidency. I would not exactly consider this guy to be on our side by any means. You know, he's fully thinks Donald Trump is racist, all this different stuff. But it was a very, like I said, just to say the least, interesting interview. And with that said, let's just get right into this reaction and then kind of give you our thoughts as we go. So let's get into this, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. Wait, hold on. Let me move this over here. All right, let's get into this, ladies and gentlemen.
Of our ongoing, never-ending quest to find the few people in this country who are still willing to say what they actually think out loud, we wound up in Los Angeles recently with the rapper Ice Cube driving through his old neighborhood. Didn't expect that to happen. Here's how it went.
Dr. Dre came by this house. I'm going to show you. We're going to ride by.
So Tucker Carlson is doing a drive-along with Ice Cube, okay, in South Central LA, all right? Like I said, it's interesting to say the least, is it not? What can we say? By the way, guys, if you do want to support the show tonight, feel free to send it in via Super Chats. I will check Super Chats regularly throughout the night. So any questions, comments, anything you got, feel free to do that. But yeah, all right, let's get into this.
Used to live down the street from me. His cousin moved on our block when I was 12. He was 11. And his name is Sir Jinx. He became one of my producers when I went solo.
Yeah, Tucker has street cred. That's real.
Sir Jinx. He moved on the block, and then Dr. Dre was his cousin. So Dre came by a couple of times.
Tucker was invited to the cookout.
It was cool,
folks.
You know, to be able to see somebody who was actually making records.
Yeah.
And we were still amateurs. Okay, not at this street, but the next one, make a left.
You want to get out there? Or you want
And we're not getting out because I don't want my pops to be like, what the fuck are you doing? All these people coming by my house. You didn't tell me.
Oh, your dad still lives there?
Yeah, my pops still lives here.
How long has your family been there?
Man, since 1962.
These boys, they all grew up on this block, okay? That's my son. That's my son.
Famously, it's one of the tougher neighborhoods in the city.
So where are we?
Right now we're on Manchester. This right here, that's
This is just funny
cemetery.
to watch, dude. Tucker in South Central LA. It's funny. I don't know if it's still, by the way, one of the tougher neighborhoods in LA because a lot of stuff has been gentrified and changed. So I don't know. I don't know specifically where Ice Cube is from.
Where a lot of people in this area laid to rest right there.
Anyone you know?
Yeah, a lot of people I know. A lot of people I know. A lot of friends, you know, a few family members.
Out of all the kids I grew up with, at least 13 of them are dead.
Today he used his AK. It's
before
real.
they even reached 21.
Today was a good day.
I just turned 21, so, you know, I thank God that I've even reached 21.
Just the block I grew up on, right here. Yeah,
Does this look the same?
It pretty much looked the same. You know, but it used to be like more trees. Like every house had a tree in front of it, and at some point the city started cutting the trees out. They said that the helicopters couldn't see people, so they started.
What, the police helicopters?
Yeah, so they start cutting the trees out.
Gosh. Welcome to the United States, right? They had to cut out the police helicopters. They had to cut out the trees because the police helicopters could not see, and there was so much crime over there that they had to cut down the trees. Yeah. South Central LA, ladies and gentlemen. Although I will say, I grew up in the San Fernando Valley in California, and you know, that's supposed to be better, right? It's suburban. It's supposed to be kind of middle class. I heard helicopters all the time. In fact, that's one of the minor culture shocks living in Florida now, at least where I live, is I barely ever hear helicopters overhead. Whereas growing up, that was like every single night. It was helicopter. Oh, another helicopter. There you go.
3 decades and billions of dollars later, it's still a tough place.
How do you think politicians in Los Angeles have done running the city?
It's pretty much the same people running it the same way. Politicians only really pay attention to the people that give them money. Everybody else is kind of an extra in their movie. We would love you in the scene, but we could do the scene without you. You know?
Yeah, I do. Do you ever give money to politicians?
No.
Why?
I don't believe in politicians. Politicians have hidden agendas. They owe a lot of people a lot of favors. The more money you give them, the more you're listened to.
So you've never fallen for a politician?
I can't say that. You know, I've had hope and, you know, dreams that, you know, this guy is gonna be the guy.
What'd you think of Obama when he got elected?
You know, for the first time, I felt proud that America took that step.
Yep.
I didn't think they would ever do that. And so that was a moment in time. But then, you know, you look around, years go by, and, you know, not much change for people I know, people I care about.
We've had 6 major race riots on the president's watch. Race relations have plummeted to lows not seen since the Rodney King.
In Chicago, a toddler is now the latest victim of the city's deadly surge in gun violence.
But it didn't change with Bush, it didn't change with Clinton, it didn't change with other Bush, Reagan, Carter. So, you know, at the end of the day, it's still the same results.
So you're describing a symbolic victory?
Yes, in a lot of ways, yes.
And then came George Floyd, and the beginning of what we were told was a second civil rights movement. If there was going to be liberation in the wake of the Floyd riots, this is where you'd see the effects.
So in short, at first when he saw Obama got elected, he was like, oh yes, you know, we elected a black guy. And then now he's like, oh, well, a little disaffected with it all. Interesting. I don't have much to say, just interesting.
3 years ago, a bunch of big companies put hundreds of millions of dollars into Black Lives Matter. Threw them a lot of money. Did that improve the neighborhood you grew up in?
Whenever you do that, most of the time, it's a lot of people siphoning that money off the top.
Yeah.
And the kicker is a lot of people say they're gonna give the money, but they don't even give the money.
They make the pledge and never write the check?
Yeah, they just get the article wrote. Everybody think they're great, and they never even give the money.
Big three.
These days, Ice Cube is in the sports business. He and a partner started a new professional basketball league called Big Three. Strangely, this is one form of black empowerment that the NBA doesn't seem to like.
It does seem like the Big Three.
So what I find interesting about this so far, right? I don't think I agree a lot with Ice Cube's ideology or whatever, but you know, they always talk about unity, and the unity is always so manufactured, right? But Tucker Carlson, who is very disaffected with the political system, and Ice Cube, who is disaffected with the political system, in my opinion, I watched this. I feel like this is one of the most uniting conversations I've seen in recent years that's not superficial. So that's why I find this to be an interesting interview. Like, I don't think he's on our side. I doubt he would come to our side. But it's interesting to watch, and it's kind of makes you feel good, I guess. Even if it doesn't really mean anything, it makes you feel good, huh?
Pitching your business, but it does seem like
Tucker invited to the cookout.
The idea behind it would be consistent with what the NBA says they're about.
Without a doubt, you know, the NBA is full of great slogans, and they write Black Lives Matter on the court, and they do all those things, but pretty full of shit when the rubber meets the road, you know?
Maybe that's why they put the slogans on the court, so they won't have to do anything. Just a thought, I don't know.
I mean, you know, it's as easy as saying we're gonna donate $100 million to. You know, it's like an easy thing to do. All they gotta do is call up the graphics guy and approve the comp.
So you're starting to make me think this could be a scam. I'm just throwing that out there.
I'm just saying it's easy for them to put that on the court. It takes a little more effort to really care to work with a league like the Big Three. You know, you really gotta wanna make a difference.
The NBA is run by a cringing neoliberal called Adam Silver. Quote, "We're completely committed to standing for social justice and racial equality," Silver once announced. "It's part of the DNA of this league." And yet, according to Ice Cube, Adam Silver has done his best to strangle the black-owned Big Three in its crib.
When people think basketball, they think Silver, don't you think? Adam Silver, he kind of embodies the spirit of basketball.
Yeah, you know.
What team did he play on?
Adam Silver did not. Last week, Adam Silver did not F around and get a triple-double. Okay, so this is true.
During his career.
I think he played on the New York Lawyers.
He's starting forward on the New York Lawyers.
Yeah. You know, I mean, he rode the bench. Come on, man. Rode the pine. Water boy.
You can see why Ice Cube is considered one of the least obedient entertainers in LA.
True. I do respect that. I do, you know, don't agree with a lot of what he stands for, but I do respect what we're about to talk about.
I used to walk these streets and
look at all
the stars.
You on the bus.
Yeah. This was a trip.
Should we
see
get
all
out
these
and say hi to
stars.
them?
No. Nah. Unless they're gonna give us a little money from the Hood Tour Life Tours. You know what I mean? Break us off 20%, man.
The world's most dangerous group.
Yes.
So I noticed this about every year or two. I read some story about you, and the subtext is always the same, which is, you know, stay in your lane.
I wouldn't be here if I stayed in my lane. Just never wanted to have that life. You know, I never wanted to be controlled.
How many times have you been pulled aside by people who are trying to control you?
What they usually do is go talk to people that's in, you know, my circle.
Yeah.
You know, here's what I'll say about it. Like I don't agree with the gangster rap thing. I think a lot of what they were trying to advocate for was in many ways just social anarchy. But when you look at all of the kind of rebel movements of the late 90s and early 2000s, look at where they are now. Like, look at, which one? Green Day? I forget which one. I think Green Day. No, Rage Against the Machine. Yeah, Rage Against the Machine. They have all these songs, right? F you, I won't do what you tell me, you know, sleep now in the fire. They were all about fighting power, fighting the system back then. And then what do you see now, right? They basically are slaves of the system, you know? Rage Against the Machine, literally a band called Rage Against the Machine is saying, get jabbed, vote for Biden, wear your mask, all that stuff. So the one thing I can say, I don't agree with kind of what this all started culturally. I think gangster rap's been very destructive for our culture in many ways. But one thing I will say about Ice Cube is that at least he can still now stand and say, you know, because he didn't get jabbed, he kind of speaks up, he doesn't toe party line even if I don't agree with everything he says. At least he can still stand there now and say, yeah, I'm still a gangster. Yeah, I still, you know, can't be controlled. I still stand up to power. As a virtue, I can respect that. You know, as a man, I can respect that. At least he stood for that back then. And now that he's Hollywood, now that he's all this and that, he never retreated from what he kind of has always been about. So that I can respect about the guy, okay? The unity, I'm telling you, it's happening. Tucker Carlson is healing the racial divide in this country.
And try to get them to try to convince them that they need to convince me that I need to take a different position. So that's kind of how I
Rage
get
on behalf of the machine. It's so real.
You know, it's been on, you know, the vaccine.
The Hollywood Reporter says actor Ice Cube is saying no to a $9 million payday because he won't say yes to the COVID vaccine.
See, that's gangster. Well, we'll be real, okay? We'll give credit where it's due. He turned down a $9 million movie because he wasn't going to take it. You know, that's like I said, I don't endorse everything about the guy, but that's respectable. That's principle. You know, I can, like, that's a man. That's cool. So respect to Cube. Let's
the
go.
actor and rapper was set to co-star in a new comedy, Oh Hell No, alongside Jack Black. But when producers requested all cast members get a COVID vaccine, Ice Cube backed out.
Why wouldn't you take the vax? You had a direct order to take it. You were told to take it.
Yeah, I'm not real good with direct orders, but on a whole nother note,
but it was a command. I mean, they told. I'm sorry, they told you. I mean, they couldn't have been clearer about it.
Yeah, it was pretty clear. Did you take it?
Of course not.
Yeah, no, it wasn't ready. You know, it was 6 month, you know, kind of rush job, and I didn't feel safe.
But they told you you were safe.
I know what they said. I know what they said, and I heard them. I heard them loud and clear. But it's not their decision. There's no repercussions if they're wrong. But I get all the repercussions if they're wrong.
Was it a tough call for you?
No, it wasn't a tough call.
Respect.
You know, I wanted to be an example for my kids. You know, really make sure they didn't take it either. Show them that I wanted to stand on my convictions and that I was willing, you know, to lose $9 million and more, because we've probably lost more, you know, since then.
No, that's
the idea
real.
is that people who stand on their convictions are heroes.
True.
They're brave. They have principles. You know, they're the people we look to for inspiration. But in this case, with this decision and these principles, you were not hailed as a hero.
No.
You were attacked.
So why won't you get the vaccine, man? Hey, look, man, I'd just rather be myself than take that vaccine like you other 3 billion bozos.
I never told anyone not to get vaccinated publicly. That was never my message to the world. I didn't even want people to know whether I got vaccinated or not. I was pretty upset that that even came out, because I was just gonna quietly, you know, just not take it and deal with the consequences as they came.
Do you know anyone who was injured?
Okay, I gotta mute this part for YouTube. Okay.
It's hard to watch.
All right.
Suffering in silence is not the answer all the time. You know, sometimes you gotta let people know what's going on so you can actually move the needle. I choose to be vocal. If it's true, why can't I say it?
True?
Well, you can't say it because it is true.
There it is. Now that's the problem with the world today.
There's no penalty for lying. No one's ever punished for lying. It's only telling the truth. It gets you in trouble.
Ain't that something?
That's true.
Yeah, that is so true.
That's so wholesome.
Thinking something is not a crime. Saying it is not a crime. You know what I mean? So I just tell what's real. You know, if the truth hurts, say ouch.
All right, folks. Well, there it is. There's the Tucker Carlson drive-along interview with Ice Cube. I mean, here's what I'll say. Like, you know, I thought it was a good interview. And like I will reiterate, you know, because I know people are going to get mad at certain things. I don't agree with everything Ice Cube believes politically, obviously. Neither does Tucker Carlson. But that's the point, right? I think in many ways, this interview achieved the quote-unquote unity in many ways that I'll say it like this. A lot of Republicans, a lot of people in the GOP, the final years of Trump's first presidency, you kind of remember what they tried to do, right? This sort of very cheap, superficial angle of racial unity, cultural unity, political unity, and it just never worked, right? It was never set up to succeed. But this right here, I think, was genuinely uniting and genuinely wholesome, you know? Because let's just state the obvious, first of all, okay? Obviously, Ice Cube, I don't know. Let's go up the ladder, okay? Ice Cube, I don't know if I'd call him on the left, but probably not politically conservative. Tucker Carlson, you know this, obviously. But then, let's also point out the obvious, right? Ice Cube is a very known, and look, let's be real, because there is a racial divide in our country, right? Ice Cube is a very known Black cultural figure, obviously. You know, he's one of the original architects, basically, of hip-hop. Tucker Carlson, white guy, former Fox News, quote-unquote, you could say, right, as white as you could be. And here they are, you know, just kind of sitting down and having, I thought, a genuinely nice, civil, interesting, engaging, and in many ways uniting conversation, right? With the GOP, all the stuff they tried to do at the end of Trump's presidency, this is really what it should have always been if you were going to make that attempt, right? Wow, Ice Cube, right? Don't you feel like you can't really speak the truth in today's society and the whole political system's kind of broken? Yes, Tucker Carlson, I actually 100% agree with you on that. Oh, interesting, right? And then you have a moment of unity, do you not? It's very... So, you know, like I said, overall, I thought this interview was wholesome. It's a feel-good moment, especially when you consider how, let's be real, both politically and in many ways racially divided we are as a country. I thought it was very wholesome, you know? Even if it doesn't save the country, this single-handed interview. Very wholesome to watch. I enjoyed it. Let me know your thoughts. But before we move on, I know we got to catch up here on some super chats, so let me do that here. Let's take a look at what we got. Hold up. Let me load it in. All right. Okay, hold on. Streamlabs is being stupid. I'm just gonna read them here. Rowley Gonzalez for $2 says, you can tell Ice Cube is a very wise person. Yeah, I mean, I'll give him that, you know, for someone you would expect, you know, he's from the streets, he gangster rap, all that stuff. He genuinely is actually decently intelligent, so I will give him that. And maybe that's one of the reasons why he survived the game, right? He's one of the members of NWA who's still alive. I'd argue, you know, the ones who were less able, less capable of navigating of what is obviously a very dangerous life and dangerous world, you know? Rest in peace, obviously, but maybe that's kind of part of the reason why he made it out, and you could say he won the game. So it is true. Thank you for the $2, Rowley Gonzalez. I appreciate it. $1 for $2 says Hunter Avallone looks like Billy Joe Armstrong. I have to see the side by side, but thank you for the $2. JD for $2 says it was all a rage against Christian conservative morality. No, yeah, exactly. When they said rage against the machine, they were just really raging against tradition and traditional moral standards that were respected in America. And so you can see now that, you know, the punks basically are in control of everything. What do they say? Well, it turns out they were never really punks. They were never really rebels, right? It's just a matter of, oh, well, you know, take the jab, vote for Biden, blah, blah, blah. This is true. This is very true. Thank you for the $2, JD. Your super chat sent twice. I'm not sure if you want to get that fixed or that was by accident. You might want to check YouTube or whatever. But thank you for the $2. Again, guys, you do want to super chat to support the show. It is greatly appreciated. But let us move on here now in our stories to the more political, okay? I'm glad, though, we could have this moment of unity, ladies and gentlemen, all right? But, okay, moving on here into other news. So, we got to talk about this. I'm sure you saw this today. But Mitch McConnell, he had a moment today. He's in a press conference today, and I don't know what this was. I don't know if he just, you know, got lightheaded. Some people are saying he had a mini stroke. Maybe he's just old and just drew a blank. I have no idea what happened. Maybe he got flashbacks to Bohemian Grove. I don't know. But check it out. This was Mitch McConnell just totally freezing up today in a press conference, okay?
Bipartisan cooperation and a string of
He's just like blanks. I don't know what's going on.
Okay, Mitch. Anything else you want to say, or should we just go back to your office? Do you want to say anything else to the press? Go back.
Go ahead, John.
I'll take it. Let's go back to you.
Go ahead, John.
bipartisan cooperation.
So there's the video. I mean, look, as much as I dislike Mitch McConnell on a political level, okay, I hope he's okay, genuinely. I pray he's okay. But the guy needs to retire, okay? He's 81 years old. He's long past the age of retirement. He's a fossil, okay? And I think you can clearly tell from a moment like that, he clearly just does not have the acumen. He does not have the agency left, right? I don't know what happened there. Whatever happened there, whether he had a mini stroke or he just was old and just blanked out, whatever it was, you got to retire, man. It is time for malfunctioning Mitch to retire. But of course he won't, you know, just very stubborn, won't hand off the reins, still has to be the Senate minority leader. I don't know what's up with it, but people were pointing this out here, which is that you seem to have an entire class of politicians that are complete fossils. And by the way, I don't mean this in terms of age, because I still think there's old politicians that are perfectly sharp. I think Donald Trump still has it in the head. I think Bernie Sanders, who's what, almost 90? I think he still is mentally there, but it's just this state of, well, you have a bunch of politicians seemingly who just should be retired right now. I don't think it's just an age thing. I think it's an energy thing, and Wokeness pointed this out, and it's true. You got malfunctioning Mitch. You got Sleepy Joe. You got John Fetterman does not need a nickname. It's just him. And then you got Dianne Feinstein. And I think I tweeted this out. I think in many ways, what this is a sign of is that we are a dying country, right? And I said, I don't think it's coincidence that our leaders are deteriorating fossils. I think that's really what this all symbolizes, right? In many ways, obviously everyone knows we're a dying country, right? But that's kind of part of why our leaders and I you know, in the sense I mean this in respectfully and again, not wishing malicious intent or anything, but our leaders, literally much like our country, are, again, I don't mean this in a mean way, but dying or on the verge of death, right? I think it's actually quite telling, you know. And people say, oh, we need younger people in office. And I suppose to a degree that's true. I don't think it's a matter of age. I think it's a matter of we need people who are mentally alive in office more so. But think about it at the same time. I mean, realistically, who are they going to hand it off to? Are you particularly impressed by a lot of younger politicians out there? I think overall, part of what's going on is part of the reason our political class can't hand over the reins partly is because they want to protect themselves, right? They're addicted to the power, all of that stuff. But also, who are you going to hand it off to, right? Nancy Pelosi on the Democrat side. Okay, she needs to retire. She's old. She's losing it. She hands it off to who? Hakeem Jeffries, right? When Mitch McConnell is inevitably done, who's he going to hand it off to? Lindsey Graham? I don't know, Tim Scott, right? There are good senators he should hand it off to, but realistically, we know that's not happening because I think overall, the quality of political leaders and just people in general in our country is declining. And so the people currently in charge are literally not alive. And then the people they're destined to pass it off to, honestly, a lot of them I'm not enthusiastic about, you know, and I do like this sort of younger wave of some of the Republicans we're seeing. But let's be real. Who's going to take over the reins of the GOP? Who's going to at least inherit the reins of the GOP? Is it going to be someone like a Matt Gaetz? Or is it going to be someone like a Dan Crenshaw? It's obviously going to be someone like a Dan Crenshaw. And so, you know, I don't know. I just watched that video. I'm not impressed. I'm not optimistic about the future of our country overall. You know, we literally have a dying country and like basically dying people in office. But anyways, he needs to retire. It's elder abuse at this point. Yeah, that's the case for most people. But anyway, speaking of just politicians who, well, this one is retired. But let's move on here to the other thing I wanted to talk about tonight. We got to give you some updates here on the climate change front, okay? You know, it's weird because this is not something that people seem to be the most interested in at the moment. It's not central to the political discourse. But behind the scenes, I would argue this climate change thing is everything, right? Because this ultimately is going to dictate in many ways how we live our life in the future. Can we drive our car? Can we use stoves? Can we use appliances? Can we live in an industrial society instead of just go back to the Neolithic Stone Age? So we got to give you some updates on that front. First and foremost, Hillary Clinton, okay, has returned. And she tweeted out today, I don't know why she's still tweeting, okay? The woman needs to just log off. But here's what she says, bitter in defeat still. She says, hot enough for you today, because she's reacting here to, like, you know, just, it's pretty hot this summer. It's hot every summer. Yes, I probably is getting on average hotter in some summers, but here's what she says. She says, hot enough for you, thank a MAGA Republican, or better yet, vote them out of office. So you guys got that? Because today was a hot summer day, apparently that is the fault of MAGA Republicans. Never mind the fact that MAGA Republicans have only been around since 2016, but somehow in the course of 7 years, they have managed to control the climate in a negative degree to such a strong extent that they are now actually controlling the entire global thermostat. Okay, so globally speaking, if you feel like it's hot, keep in mind that is, of course, the fault of Donald Trump. It's definitely not because, you know, climate has changed and has always been changing for several thousands of years, or even according to her logic and the climate movement, it's not even because, I don't know, industrialization has been going on for a little more than a century now. Don't mind the fact that her husband was, you know, president for several years and, you know, didn't apparently stop the alleged climate change that's happening. Nope. Of course, though, as you know, right, this is, of course, science. Definitely trust the science. It is 100% scientific to blame MAGA Republicans and their birth in 2016 for all of our global climate problems, allegedly. So there's the update on the Hillary Clinton front. Now we got to talk about Just Stop Oil, okay? So you may have seen this. By the way, I guarantee you this movement is coming to America soon, but you may have seen these people all across Europe. They're doing this stuff. So in Sweden, in, I think, France and stuff, you've seen these videos where they go to the museums and they vandalize, right? They just pour paint and tomato soup and stuff all over historic paintings. Well, you may have seen this movement in Britain where they're standing there and blocking the road, okay? These absolute scumbags, these absolute low-life scum of the earth stand in the middle of the road and just, you know, who cares if someone's having a medical emergency? I'm sure you guys may have seen that video, some of you. There's a woman literally with a newborn baby trying to take him to a doctor's appointment or whatever, and they won't move. But the brave and great people of England are now pushing back against some of this Just Stop Oil nonsense. So, you know, at least I guess the tide is turning to some degree. Check this out. So here's this British guy who pours milk on the Just Stop Oil protesters who are blocking the road. Check it out.
What's going on here? You fucking wrong-uns, the lot of you. Have that, and you can have it as well, you fucking cunts. You fucking dickheads, the lot of you.
So look, I'm not going to encourage any of our British viewers to, you know, obviously break the law. Don't get yourself arrested. knowing England, knowing London, I bet you the Just Stop Oil protesters who are obstructing traffic, I'm sure they won't get arrested, but I'm sure this guy will probably do realistically about 25 to 30 years in prison for this. But what I will say is that, this has been a long time coming. Like I said, nobody break the law, nobody do anything that's going to get you arrested. But it is probably these people are disrupting the world in so many ways, right? They're just complete scum when you think about it, because it's not just a matter of, oh, we're blocking the road because, hey, it's inconvenient to you, but we're doing it to save the environment. Okay, first of all, you're actually wasting more fossil fuel because people are just sitting there idly waiting for you to, get your butt out of the way for several hours. So that's actually burning a lot more fossil fuel. But beyond that, it's not just a matter of, oh, they're minorly inconveniencing people. No. Right? As you saw in the one video last week, there's people out there having medical emergencies, right? You could literally cause someone to die because you won't move out the way of the road. And you saw that, right? You saw the video of the newborn baby. But even to the less extreme, most of these people you're blocking, let's be real, are probably trying to get to work, okay? And what happens if you show up to work late, several hours, let's say in some cases, late to work? Okay, realistically, what's going to happen? You should probably get an excused absence if you're getting stopped by Just Stop Oil protesters, but let's be realistic about it, right? At best, you're probably going to lose the wages for those hours you were not there, okay? I don't know if there's a paid time off clause for Just Stop Oil protesters blocking the road in many cases for many people. But beyond that, there's quite a few people who probably, what happens if you're late to work on a repeated basis or even just once for some jobs? You get fired, okay? So someone out there, unironically, may not be able to feed their family because you made them late for work, right? Like that understand that's what you're doing. You're not minorly inconveniencing people. So I say to these people, they're the absolute scum of the earth. Frankly, I think in many ways they're terrorists. They're committing terrorism. And it's just, if you're going to stand there and disrupt society, then I can do nothing but stand there and laugh and kind of, like I said, don't break the law, but kind of deep down root for these for the people who are doing stuff like pushing back. You want to play dirty, so they're going to play dirty. So pour milk, right? And then, you may have seen this one video where they were having a meeting. They're having one of their town hall meetings for Just Stop Oil. And did you see? They put these rape alarms. They put these alarms on balloons. And then they floated them to the top of the ceiling and set the alarms off. And basically, so you couldn't go and get it. You couldn't go turn it off, right? Look, when you disrupt society and mess with people, when you F around, you find out. Or at least that's the way it should be. I think that's the problem in the West. That's a problem why our civilizations have declined the way they have, right? Is because there's no respect for anything or anyone, right? So part of the reason people are pouring paint on paintings is because, they know they're going to get away with it. Now, realistically, if you do destroy a historic work of art, that are civilization values, you should get the utmost punishment for that. Jail for life at the very least. But of course, that doesn't happen, right? If you block the road, realistically, in an actually civilized society, if you obstruct traffic, what naturally and logically would you think should happen to you, right? But of course, we don't do that because there's no respect for anything. So my hope with all of this, I'm glad to see British people are starting to push back, is that this kind of reverse respect will be instilled into the Just Stop Oil people. They'll maybe deep down think, hey, if I block traffic, there might actually be consequences, right? At the very least, some British Chad may pour milk on me. And, realistically, I think people should consider a lot worse consequences if they block the road. So, there's my thoughts on that. But just wanted to share this video. I am glad to see for once someone is doing something about these people, okay? Like I said, don't encourage anyone to break laws or do whatever, but, you got to do what you got to do, right? But yeah, all right, there's the Just Stop Oil people. And hold on, before I move on here, let me get to some of these super chats. Let's see here. Burgundy Blue for $20 says, hold on, let me just read it here. Vince, I dislike climate protesters as much as you, but we gotta build nuclear power plants or something to stop climate change. I'm a roofer / work in construction every summer, and it seems to get hotter. Well, thank you for the $20, but that's part of the climate protesters are against nuclear energy. So that's literally part of the problem with them, right? They're the ones pushing all this wind and solar crap that, first of all, actually contributes to climate change, right? Because what happens when you have to build, for instance, huge solar farms across the country? What happens? You have to cut down a lot of trees, right? I love trees. I'm not a hippie, but I do love trees. Trees regulate climate. They regulate temperature. Building massive wind and solar plants actually contributes to, at least on a local level, climate change. And then in the context of renewable energy, it doesn't yield any power. So that's part of the reason why the climate protester and the climate menace does need to be stopped, is because they don't want nuclear energy, and they're just full of crap, right? And I think part of the reason they don't want nuclear energy is because nuclear energy would be too easy of a solution, right? It literally is the cop-out solution. Look, nuclear energy, first of all, is a lot safer than its reputation precedes, okay? Chernobyl, obviously, 3 Mile Island, all that stuff has happened. We've learned from that. It's a lot safer now. Actually, wind and solar kills more people through accidents and all that stuff, right? Wind and solar kills more people per year than nuclear energy does. But the problem with nuclear energy, right, is that if we adopted nuclear energy, basically nobody would have to sacrifice their way of life. That's why they don't like it, right? Because nuclear energy actually is efficient. It yields a lot of it yields a ton of power. It's actually relatively safe. It's much safer than we make it out to be. And that's why they don't want it. Because their agenda with climate change is not even climate change. It's we have to basically destroy Western civilization and degrade the Western quality of life and basically make everyone submit to this very dystopian World Economic Forum pod style of living, right? So if we are not suffering to atone for the great sin of climate change, it's not enough in their books, right? So that's why I have no sympathy for the climate protesters or even anything they're protesting against, because, the fact that they don't want nuclear energy tells it all. It tells it all. They're actually just scumbags who want to destroy prosperity for normal people. They're absolute low down scum of the earth who want to destroy your life. That's how I see the climate protesters. And so I don't have an ounce of sympathy for, frankly, any of these people. I don't. They are actually scum who want to destroy your life and basically take everything you own and, basically implement the Great Reset on you, right? They want to take away the natural food you eat and make you submit to their estrogenic lab-grown nonsense, right? They want to take your car from you and force you to drive a gay Prius if you even drive, right? They want to basically force you to melt in the summertime because you can't turn on the AC because we're out of power, rolling blackouts. Welcome to the state of California, right? So these people are absolute scum, okay? And that's not to take away from the fact that we should care about the environment. Now, I think the degree to which we can control climate change is grossly exaggerated. I don't think that, necessarily just making the United States emissions cleaner would do anything to actually bring down global temperatures. But my whole thing is, we got to innovate. We got to, if climate is going to be more extreme, which it seems like it is right now, we don't know for sure, but it's safe to assume, okay, yeah, the planet maybe is getting hotter. We don't know how much to which we can control that, but the planet's getting hotter. We need to do what human beings always have done in periods of climate change, which is adapt, innovate. If it's going to be harder to do agriculture, then how do we innovate? If we're going to have a drought, then let's build irrigation. Let's desalinate whatever it is, right? Let's do stuff like that. And nuclear energy, I think in general, is just a very efficient power source, but that's exactly why these people don't want it. That's exactly why these people don't want it. So, but yeah, thank you for the $20, Burgundy Blue. Burgundy Blue for another $5 says we had to switch our work schedule from 7 a.m. to 6 a.m. because that 1 extra hour makes all the difference. We're worried some guys will faint from the heat. I mean, it is true. Look, the summertime is very miserable in this country, and, I'm not denying that. It does feel en masse like the last few summers sure have been hotter. But understand, not all of that is about global or even, national climate. A lot of the reason for that, I would speculate in many ways. I mean, think about what urbanization does in terms of tree cover, in terms of grass, right? This is what's very interesting about it, too. There's a whole movement, at least where I'm from in California. There's a whole movement where you need to get rid of your grass lawn, right? because the law in LA, I think, is you can only water your grass now once a week, twice a week. So everyone's lawn is dead. And so everyone where I grew up, you know, when I was young, everyone had a grassy lawn. Now it's all mulch. It's all these like desert friendly stuff. And so there's mulch, it's sand, it's rocks, turf even. You know, everyone has fake lawns, right? Naturally, what's going to happen as a result of that, if you know how science works, right? Trees, grass, that brings down temperatures. It has a cooling effect because you know what it does with evaporation, transpiration, all that different stuff, right? But for the sake of environmentalism and saving water, in California, at least my part of California where I grew up, now you can't water the grass. You basically can't have a grass lawn. What happens as a result of that? The whole city is basically just concrete. There's no grass, there's no trees, there's no nothing to break that all up. And then what happens? What happens is that things get hotter. Right? Of course, every summer is going to feel hotter because we got rid of all the grass. So, of course, when you go outside, it feels hotter because you have a big sea full of concrete, right? And understand, ironically, of course, they got rid of the grass because they said they were being eco-friendly. And as a result of being eco-friendly, Los Angeles every single summer is, I don't know the exact math, but I'd probably speculate at least a few degrees hotter every summer simply because they got rid of all the grass and tree cover, right? So, you know, these people, it's not a revolutionary take to anyone, but these people are idiots. These people are morons, and nothing they are doing, even in a local sense. You think about these people's local policies, right? Because this is what they say, right? What's kind of the emotional appeal they're using? Hey, look, Phoenix hits their 19th day of 110 degrees, right? You know, they're taking a lot of local stuff like that. Look at LA, look at this and that. Okay, for a decade now, let's think about this logically. For a decade now, you've gotten rid of all the green, all the plants, all the stuff that, you know, regulates temperature. And then now you're shocked that the city's hotter every summer. Well, of course it's hotter every summer, you dinguses, right? So, you know, this is true. And this is a point few consider, but it is very true. Lord Pepsi for $2 says geoengineering is real. It is indeed real. Thank you for the $2, Lord Pepsi. Very, very true. Lord Pepsi for $2 says California equals semi-desert minimal scaping is natural, not grass. Thank you for the $2, Lord Pepsi. I mean, yes, I understand perhaps that's true, but you can't get rid of all the grass in the, because I don't know how they did it. I don't know how they did it, okay? But magically, miraculously, when I was a kid in Los Angeles, everyone had a green lawn. You never saw a family with mulch. Everyone had grass, okay? So all I'm saying is that when you get rid of all the grass, miraculously, these people then turn around and say, why is Los Angeles getting hotter every summer? I mean, I know that's not the only factor, but it definitely is a factor, and I think it's a factor that you just simply cannot deny. So, you know, this is true. To this guy spamming in the chat, you know, if you want a shout out, you can send in the super chats, okay? And I will say your name. But don't just go spamming in a chat and then expect to get anything, okay? That's just clout chasing behavior. So I don't know if you've timed this guy out or muted him, but thank you, Burgundy Blue. Thank you, okay? If you want a shout out from me, then send in the super chat. And I say everyone's name when I send in the super chat, okay? But you just go spamming like a 12-year-old. I mean, you're just an idiot. All right. One last thing I wanted to bring up on this climate change discussion, you know, here is, of course, you've probably seen this before, but here's a video in 1978 of the scientists, of the climate experts declaring that the next ice age is on its way, okay? So you wonder why won't you embrace green policy? We need to save the planet or something. You wonder why I don't really buy any of these people's nonsense in terms of how man-made climate change is fundamentally reshaping the entire world, and we know what's happening and we know how to stop it. Here's them in 1978 saying that an ice age was on the way. Okay, so check.
I think we'd have to think about moving someplace else.
Move where? The brutal buffalo winter might become common all over the United States. Climate experts believe the next ice age is on its way. According to recent evidence, it could come sooner than anyone had expected. At weather stations in the far north, temperatures have been dropping for 30 years. Seacoasts, long free of summer ice, are now blocked year-round. According to some climatologists, within a lifetime, we might be living in the next ice age.
I think we...
According to some climatologists, this is in 1978, we may be living in a next ice age. I don't know what they're going to say. Vince, but they've learned since then. Okay, science innovates, science adapts, we learn new stuff. You can't take them in the 70s. Actually, you can, though. Okay? Because this is exactly my point. In 1978, if we took the word of the scientists seriously at that point, and we said, okay, how do we get around this? Then we would be innovating and trying to adapt all of our infrastructure for the course of 2 decades, and even just figuring out ways to stop it, to prepare for an ice age. So we'd spend all this time, all this money, all this political resource trying to adapt to that, only for 2 decades later, Al Gore and his George Jetson vegetable car to come along and say, actually, it's the opposite. It's global warming. We need to prepare for the heat, okay? Do you see why that is destructive? Do you see why that is just reckless and actually quite ridiculous to, change up global policy every few decades just because the scientists are now saying this, the scientists are now saying that? Actually, when the scientists say anything, you should frankly be incredibly and highly skeptical. And no, I don't think we should fundamentally restructure global policy just because so-and-so scientists said this at this point in time. Because firstly, truthfully, they don't understand any of this stuff as much as they claim that they do, right? That's just the truth. None of us truly understand what is happening with climate. And to the degree to which you hear scientific certainty, you can't even really guarantee in the United States that it's not bought out by someone paying for these studies, right? And so, yeah, I mean, I don't trust the scientists. I don't trust the science, and I don't particularly see a reason to. Anytime, quote-unquote, experts say they're going to project this and that, I mean, yeah, I'll listen to it. Yeah, I'm interested at least in what they have to say. But understand, right, if we had listened to these people in the late 70s and followed their course of global policy, we would have spent billions, trillions of dollars for doing an ice age New Deal. Only for 20 years later, suddenly that's all changed to the Green New Deal. And then what the heck was the point of any of it? Well, this is the problem. This is precisely the issue. This is why, it is just idiotic to, frankly, ever, quote unquote, trust the science. It's just true. But anyways, there's the climate change front. One last thing I want to react to or talk about tonight, and then we'll move on to our super chats. But I have to talk about this, okay? It was a big story today. I don't particularly care. You guys know where I stand on this, but let's at least hear it out. So we have, there was a UFO hearing today in Congress, and this whistleblower, who I don't know who this whistleblower is, but they testify that the U.S. has recovered non-human biological pilots from some of these crashed UFOs, okay? So for reporting purposes, let's take a listen.
Intelligent extraterrestrials.
Something I can't discuss in public setting.
Okay, I can't ask when you think this occurred. If you believe we have crashed craft, stated earlier, do we have the bodies of the pilots who piloted this craft?
As I've stated publicly already in my News Nation interview, biologics came with some of these recoveries, yeah.
Were they, I guess, human or non-human biologics?
Non-human, and that was the assessment of people with direct knowledge on the program I talked to that are currently still on the program.
And was this documentary evidence, this video, photos, eyewitness? Like, how would that be determined?
The specific documentation I would have to talk to you in a skiff about.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. So, and you may or may not be able to answer my last question, and maybe we get into a skiff at the next hearing that we have, but who in the government, either what agency, sub-agency, what contractors, who should be called into the next hearing about UAPs, either in a public setting or even in a private setting? And you probably can't name names, but what agencies or organizations, contractors, et cetera, do we need to call in to get these questions answered, whether it's about funding, what programs are happening, and what's out there?
I can give you a specific cooperative and hostile witness list of specific individuals that were in those.
And how soon can we get that list?
I'm happy to provide that to you after the hearing.
Super. Thank you. And I yield back.
Okay, well, there you have it. Oh my gosh, guys, aliens. Ooh, there's aliens. We all need to soy jack about this. Ooh. You guys know my thoughts on this. I don't buy the UFO thing. I don't know why it's coming up now, but you know, some people say it's to distract from this, it's to distract from that. I don't know if it's particularly that complex, but I just don't buy it. I just don't buy any of this stuff. And I understand why it is fun to believe. Don't get me wrong. I used to be a big Ancient Aliens guy back when I was an atheist. Okay, I was really into the, did aliens build the pyramids? It's fun. I understand it's fun. It's kind of like, in a way, sort of this like mental masturbation, right? Of just, oh my gosh, you know, whoa. It's like fun to think. I understand that, but I just don't believe it. I just don't believe any of this stuff. My view, and I'll be real, these craft may very well be real, but to me, aliens, maybe it's a possibility. I think it's like third or fourth on the list, right? Because I think the most likely possibility, okay, this person contained non-human biologics, whatever, some random whistleblower. I don't even know who this person is. But most likely, I think the most logical explanation is that it's top secret military craft, right? The military has some type of secret technology because they've reported Foo Fighters since World War II. Maybe there's something we don't know about, right? And I think there's a reason why most of these sightings happen in North America and the UK, and why most of the sightings, secondly, yeah, there's some in civilian areas, but many of them happen near military bases, right? So I would think, if anything, it's probably just some top secret military thing. And then the whole aliens thing, right, is a useful diversion. If I were running a CIA psyop and people, you know, this is the perfect psyop I would make. I'd say, oh, flying saucers, Roswell, New Mexico, oh, to cover up for the fact that the U.S. just has flying saucer technology, and you know, we don't want China, we don't want our adversaries to know about it, okay? That would be explanation number one. To me, that's the most logical and rational one. I would consider that before the alien thing, okay? Number two, the second possibility, I believe this as a Christian, is that whatever is flying around the sky is either just angelic or demonic or fallen angelic, right? I don't know which one, frankly. I don't know which one, but, you know, I mean, sure, it's personal. It has to do with my faith, but I don't really particularly believe in aliens. Yes, from a Christian worldview, you can believe in aliens. I'm not saying you can't. It's just not the most likely thing to me, right? I'm more just personally inclined to think, well, maybe it's angels, maybe it's demons, maybe it's something, but it's, you know, I would think that before I would think, you know, about UFO, aliens, whatever. And then maybe third or fourth on that list is the alien thing. But overall, I don't know. I don't really care about this, okay? People like to freak out about it, but I'm far more interested, for instance, with, if we're going to talk about conspiracy theories, I think it's more relevant to our life what happened on 9/11, what happened with, you know, JFK, what happened with a lot of stuff, what happened with more recent events that, you know, right? But, you know, let's all just put on our conspiracy caps and only ask questions about aliens because, ooh, aliens, you know, ooh, that's literally what, ooh, I don't know, dude. I just think the whole dialogue is stupid. And until we are in, what's that one movie? What's the Will Smith movie with the aliens? Until they come down, until, you know, and they're like, "Ooh, Vince, you were wrong. We're gonna abduct you now," right? Until they do that, I just don't care. You will not convince me to care. I think the whole thing is stupid. Right? And I think in many ways, the alien discussion is kind of a way for atheists to sort of fill their void of wanting to believe in something bigger than just the material existence of human beings being just there and stardust or whatever. But I don't know. That's just me. Let me know what you think about the aliens. I mean, I know some people like to eat this stuff up. It's not for me. What can I say? It's not for me. All right, with that said, folks, it is 9 o'clock. We will move on now solely to Super Chats for about 10 to 20 minutes. So any questions, comments, feel free to send them in via these Super Chats. I am reading all of them now, so let's get into some of these. All right, let's go right here. Hold on, I got to turn on the sound effect. But Lord Pepsi for $2 says, Carl Sagan warned us about authoritarian science. What is very true, right? You know, when you can't, I know it's a very basic take, but it's true. It's their religion, right? So like in history, many people have justified things in the name of this religion or that religion. This is what they do it now. It's the religion of science. I know that's not a revolutionary take, but it is very true. Thank you for the $2. And yes, the cult of authoritarian science, very real threat. All right, let's see here. Dollar for $2 says, can we do a members block tonight? I'm gonna be real, we'll probably do one tomorrow. I am tired. Okay, I'm absolutely exhausted right now, so probably not tonight, all right? Probably not tonight. We'll probably do one tomorrow. Thank you for the $2, dollar for dollar. I mean, if the members truly bribe me, then we can do one, okay? Then we can do one, but as of now, I'm just kind of exhausted. All right, Jiffer for $5 said, Hillary Clinton said, can end global warming in 24 hours. Step 1, remove anyone who disagrees with her from the face of the earth. Vince D didn't kill himself. Thank you for the $5, Jiffer. And it is true. I am not suicidal, Hillary Clinton. I would never kill myself. And I would never kill myself. So this is true. Dirty Mike says, Vince, your religion is not incompatible with aliens. I agree that it's not, but it also, it's not compatible either, right? I think it's a possibility. I don't think it's unbiblical to believe in aliens, but to me, I don't really view it as my first sort of, inclination for that to be the explanation, right? And like I said, realistically, I think people want to get excited because we hear about flying saucers in Roswell, New Mexico. That's definitely not a psyop spread by people who wanted to cover up military technology or knowledge of something else, right? So, that's my thoughts on it. I know people very often say it's a distraction, it's a diversion. And I don't necessarily believe it's a distraction because they're doing a UFO hearing on the same week of the Hunter Biden trial. Like, I don't know if it's that deep. Maybe it is. I don't know if it's necessarily that deep. I do think, though, it's kind of a psyop to distract from what they really are, right? Because I think, yes, in 1947 in Roswell, something crashed. It's probably just a military tech. We don't want the Soviets to know about it, so what do we say? Aliens, right? Classic CIA psyop. Like, I totally think it would be it's probably the explanation, to tell you the truth. But here we go. Burgundy Blue for $20 says, hey Vince. Oh wait, hold on. All right, there we go. Burgundy Blue for $20 says, hey Vince, could you please react to this vid? Based Muslim teens try to stop the LGBT takeover of their schools. You can skip to 6:30 if you want. Thank you for the $20, Burgundy Blue. All right, let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at this. This is the Muslim kids, apparently, protesting against the pride stuff at their school. All right, let's take a look. All right.
A woman marries.
He says skip to 6:30. Okay, so apparently this is Muslim kids doing protesting at their school. All right, let's check.
It's acceptable. It's discriminatory.
Sure. You guys are gonna figure it out. That's the whole mission.
After hearing the opinions of the LGBT community, I drove to Hamtramck, where they banned the hanging of the pride flag in public, and I immediately noticed.
This is the city. Okay, this is the city that banned the hanging of the pride flag. Okay.
Countless hijabs and surprisingly pride flags.
There are a lot of gay flags out here, actually. I wonder if that's in direct response to what's going on out here.
So I knocked on the door of the first house I saw hanging the pride flag.
Hi.
Well, all it says is you can't put it on public property, right? You can't put it at City Hall. I mean, so that's just for the record.
We were wondering if you'd be willing to speak about the whole gay flag ban.
They said that they didn't want to fly the flag on public property.
Okay.
So this is private property.
Got it.
I would say that it's kind of controversial. There's a lot of pushback against gays in general.
Okay. And is that because this is a predominantly Muslim community out here?
I think that's part of it.
Do you think the mayor is a controversial figure after this?
He is with me.
For context, Mayor Gabib.
This is literally what they get, okay? Because we obviously the Muslims doing this stuff is, I agree with it. But who are the ones, think back to 2015, who are the ones protesting against refugee resettlement in America from the Middle East? Who are the ones kind of raising the red flags, right, about the Islamification of the West and American culture and saying, look, we shouldn't let all these millions of refugees and mass immigration, all this stuff, right? Who's been the one always protesting against it? It was the conservatives. What did the liberals say? Oh, well, no, Islam is a religion of peace. We welcome them, all this stuff. So, I just laugh at it. I really do. And I'm glad this is happening to them. I'm glad, by the way, it's just a good thing. It's an objectively good thing that a city does not fly the pride flag, okay? But yeah, the liberals deserve this, and it's just quite hilarious to watch, because it's conservatives always who have been protesting against the migration and all of that stuff, right? And for the record, this does not mean, right, as much as I do say, yes, Muslims who are already in America, right, Muslims in this country and Christians in this country, we might as well protest together, because what choice do we truly have, right? But I am not for, especially less so America, but more so Europe, right? I'm not for what Europe especially is doing, which is importing millions and millions of people into the European world from the Islamic world, and just expecting that to be socially and culturally and religiously cohesive, because it's not. And obviously you're seeing the problems of that, right? So I'm not for that, right? I believe that the Muslim world and the Christian world are actually not the same thing, which is why they should remain separated. And, we don't need to be fighting crusades against each other perhaps anymore. But, I do believe in that separation. I think we're separate religions. But if you're going to throw us together in the same country, don't be surprised when, newsflash, right? On the social conservative stuff, on some of this traditionalism stuff. Hey, look, the fascist Christian conservatives that you hate so much, actually the Muslims believe all the same things socially. So, they deserve it. They really do. It's amusing to me.
Is the mayor of this town and made headlines for being the first Muslim mayor in a U.S. city. And he recently entered controversy after defending the city council's unanimous decision to ban the display of the LGBT flag in city property. But what did the Muslim community think of this decision? How you guys doing? What are you guys' thoughts on this gay flag ban thing?
I don't really care about it.
You don't even care?
2 genders,
Two genders, okay.
Why they adding third,
So they're trying to inject their values into your guys' community? Is that kind of how you feel, or?
No, I mean, they were here before us, but at the same time, it's like, why are you making it such a big thing? You could just live your life in peace, and then we live ours in peace. Just don't go knocking on people's doors and yelling at other people like Muslims. They be putting flags in private property.
Really? Oh, so people are putting flags in your guys' houses?
Yeah.
That's kind of crazy. Okay, so we have another flag over there. Could be interesting.
Wow, some people were going around. You know how your homeowners association every 4th of July, I don't know, this was my neighborhood when I was a kid, they put the American flags in your lawn, the little one. Apparently people were going around and sticking pride flags on people's houses. That's
maybe they have some thoughts.
Not happy with the ban. I believe it to be unconstitutional. We've had 3 flags torn off.
Really?
Our porch.
Yeah, the first time they ripped the flag, and then the next 2 times they actually jumped on the pole and broke the brackets. So that's a new one.
We saw them. They were, probably 16, 17, 18. I believe hate is being taught to the kids. I'm not teaching hate against Muslims. Muslims should not be teaching hate against gay people.
Okay. So is there an invisible tension out?
Well, you're the ones who welcomed them into your neighborhood, right? You're the ones who said, let's Islamify America, because Islam is this progressive religion of peace. That's what they said under, the Obama years, right? Again, what were the Christian conservatives saying? They were saying, we're different religions, we're different cultures. We don't really belong, just totally intertwined as if we're not different from each other, right? But of course, they preach, tolerance, this and that, right? Coexist. Remember this is what happens when you coexist, okay? So no, they deserve it. I love to see it, okay? All you Muslims in Michigan, keep it up. You're doing great, okay? Freaking
out here right now that otherwise did not exist.
The is, I think, between the gay community and council.
Got it.
We don't blame our neighbors for this.
I see.
There are slurs going on.
Okay.
People are being
slurs going on. What are you talking about? I thought it was just the white Christian conservatives who were so evil, and if we all just but how can there be slurs at you? You have a coexist sticker on your Prius. What? Muslims are calling you the F word? But you have a coexist sticker. Okay, you told them to coexist. Why aren't they coexisting? I can't. My brain is broken. Oh my gosh, guys. They deserve it. They do. They deserve it. This is what happens.
The F word and various other things.
Publicly?
Yeah. Oh. Where does that come from? It's being taught. I think it's being taught from the mosque.
I thought they were a progressive religion of peace and tolerance. How could that be possible? How could that be possible?
Oh, interesting. Okay. They had young people at the polls screaming, "Kill the fence," during the voting.
After hearing from both sides, I began to walk to the town.
Okay, disavow. That's against my faith. But again, who was for bringing this religion en masse in large numbers into this community and preaching that it was the right thing to do because of diversity and tolerance? Well, just, that's what happens.
Town hall to see if I could talk to the city council that unanimously voted for the flag ban, when out of nowhere, an old man screamed at me through his door.
What's up? What's up? What's up? We're just walking around talking to the people that live here. Ask them about this gay flag thing.
I think this is the United States of America, and we can fly any flag we want. That's the nature of this country. And I'm frustrated that they won't sit down on both sides and discuss matters and come to a reasonable result.
And mid-spiel, these Muslim teenagers pulled up and asked what we were filming.
How you guys doing? Let's talk to these guys real quick.
What's the video today?
We're investigating the gay flag ban thing.
Oh,
We're gonna egg them flags. We gotta go egg them flags.
Really?
Yeah. Right now.
You guys are about to go egg flag.
Yeah.
Oh no. Oh wow. I don't know if this is the best idea, boys.
The old man seemed to recognize these kids, so they pulled over and things got crazy.
Maybe not the best idea. I don't know about this one, boys. So why'd you guys come out here?
Well, we seen you and then we was not sure it was you.
For the public record for YouTube, I do not endorse the destruction of people's property. However, I am going to reiterate my central point, which is that, you shouldn't be surprised when you willingly embrace the mass migration of Muslims, that the values of their faith start to dictate and run the culture of your community. It's true,
It's me. What are you guys up to right now? You guys are throwing eggs around?
No, it was his idea.
So you see that flag right there?
I see that, yeah.
That's some gay, bro.
Okay.
Right? And we don't mess with that. We don't mess with that. Right? So our religion is, oh yeah, he visited our classroom.
Apparently, this old man used to work at the school these kids attended, and the most unexpected debate began.
Look at that, a real hippie, American hippie. You guys, freedom is what this country is about.
So you guys don't support that? You guys don't support the flag?
We're Muslims.
All right, in my science class, right?
Yeah.
They told me there's something called the XX chromosome and an XY chromosome.
Sure.
Right?
In this country, you can be who you want to be.
Yeah.
And this
And if you want to stay here, adapt our ways, please. I was going to move to Ireland.
Look at this guy. The liberal hippie says, if you want to stay here, adapt to our ways. Wow, you need to assimilate to our culture. Hey, genius. What have we been saying, right? This is too good. No. Listen. All you Muslim Americans out there, okay? No, I don't care. Keep your culture. Okay, keep your culture. Because what does assimilating even mean these days? Oh, assimilate to, the pride flag, right? Assimilate to mainstream American culture? No, hold on to your traditional, old school culture to the end of it, because these people are getting everything they asked for. So I'm just gonna
take my American ways there and try to make them
I'm
American.
Yemen, bro.
You guys won't even listen, will you?
My
This
teacher
is
hung
so
up a pride
funny.
flag,
I was on your
right?
school board.
I took it down and I stole it.
I gave you money. I was a boss of your school.
You were about, not anymore.
You act like a bunch of
Did you take your
I'm a minor.
Why aren't some girls with you?
You okay? Are you
Why
okay?
aren't some females?
Hey, because that's a
Why
bro.
don't you
That's
treat
haram, bro.
females equally? That's what this
That's
country is
haram, bro.
about. You need to start treating your women correctly. This country is freedom.
Yeah, it's freedom.
I just told you
We're
that.
talking about LGBTQ. You support
I
LGBT?
am.
Where you
You
at
want
right now?
LGBTQ? What?
I'm not. I don't even know what those letters mean.
Hey, then why did you support it?
Yeah, ha 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 ha. You sound like stupid young men. And if you are citizens, you have vowed by your word that.
in many ways they just sound like kids being kids. To be realistic. when I was in middle school, I'm not saying my friends did this, but we did kind of talk like this. And then we went to high school, and a lot of my friends got, liberalized, I guess you would say. And this was true. But this is just kids being kids. It's just, young men. Can you really hate on them? They're just doing their thing.
That you will support the Constitution of this country.
But listen. He's saying.
How about some words we can understand, gentlemen?
Yeah, okay. But the Constitution tells us that we have religious belief. So what are we supposed to agree with you, but disagree with another rule of the Constitution? What do you want us to do?
I want you to do what it says in the Constitution. Religion and politics have to be totally separate.
That's not true. That's not true. But
Are you infringing on their ability to be Muslim is my question.
Hell no, I've gone to meetings, they voted for me.
When you said they voted for you, right? Who are you?
Richard Hiska.
Okay.
Who is you?
Was on the school board for years. You guys won't even let me finish.
Okay, my bad. Go ahead.
You guys have to start thinking for yourselves.
Okay, listen, we chose to come live here because the Constitution says we're allowed to have religious beliefs. And in our religion, it says to not support any kind of it literally says do not support, a woman marries a woman or a guy marries a guy.
Is that haram?
That is strictly forbidden. You do that, you go straight to hell.
Yeah, LGBTQ is not religion.
True.
I was Catholic, I believe
agree.
those. I used to.
So the question is there a certain through line where everyone can respect each other, even respecting the differences in the beliefs?
That's exactly what it says in our religion. In our religion, it says that we are not allowed to disrespect any other religions.
Okay.
We're not allowed to disrespect any other people.
Yeah, live that. Quit bullshitting and live it.
What we need to cut out is when people try to show that they're gay. Yeah. They show it. You could be it, but you don't have to show it and act like it and do it in public. Sir.
It's a valid point.
Sir, sir, you gotta understand this community is a Muslim community. It's full of Arabs, Bengalis.
Nothing to do with cities or religion or.
It's true. Yeah, no, they're right. It is an Arab Muslim community. And the guy on the left is a minority in that community. So who kind of has the cultural control, right? The majority. It's true. Now, people on the right wing advocated against that for many years. They were, of course, labeled racist and Islamophobic and xenophobic and all that stuff. And then eventually they lost the debate. And then now, this is what happens. So, no, Arabs, listen, to all the Muslims, the liberals say you don't need to assimilate, keep your, keep your culture. I'm all for it, actually. Keep your culture, keep all of it. And just be a menace for the people who, were advocating for, resettling you as refugees and migrants and all that stuff. Do it, okay?
This city,
that's what happens.
We're leaving you alone. We're not doing nothing. Bro, you said we're gonna tear that flag out.
You can't even reach that flag. What are you saying? We don't give a fuck about y'all.
I hate flags.
I don't give a fuck.
I don't care either. So why are you talking about these other?
What was the plan with the eggs?
Coexist. Diversity is our strength.
How you doing?
Amidst all this yelling, I didn't realize the kid threw an egg at a house, which caused the guy to come out with a shotgun, cussing everyone out.
What was that?
Mentally ill. He pulled a gun.
Got it. You pulled a gun? All right, maybe we split. Let's get out of here. Yeah, everyone. All right, let's go. All right. Oh.
And drive safely,
They just egged the house. That's what's happening here. Step by step. All right, one step forward.
That's it, yeah.
As we helped Richard and this other random dude on crutches back up the stairs, the debate was over and we assessed the damage.
Hey there. Did they egg your house? Yeah, we'll go. All right, make sure everything's okay. We kind of witnessed an egging go down in real time. Try to dissuade the young lads from throwing the eggs, but
Okay, here's the thing. Like I said, I don't support people vandalizing private property. It's just thuggish. It's disrespectful. Okay, but first of all, people are gonna make a really big deal out of this. This is a hate crime. All of that. No, I mean, egging people's houses when you're a teenager, it's actually a pretty normal thing. Wasn't really so much normal when I was growing up, but you've seen 80s movies. It's a thing that kids do, right? So. I'm not defending the action because I just think it's uncivilized to just destroy property, even if it's property of nonsense, you know. But, you know, at the same time, like I said, it's just teenage behavior. People are gonna, it's evil. It's teenage behavior. Okay. A lot of you in chat probably either egged or toilet papered someone's house, so I wouldn't make the biggest deal out of this, to tell you the truth. But, you know, like I said, overall, what is the central conclusion? I'm just gonna keep coming back to it. It's real. This is what happens, guys. This is what happens, you know? That's what they get. What else can I say? That's what they get. So, you know, and I at least hope that, you know, a positive of it may be that hopefully so many Muslims stop voting Democrat. You know, I'm all for that. Listen, politics is addition by subtraction. Liberals use mass migration as a political weapon anyway. So, you know, we might as well hopefully maybe try to take a chunk of that. So I'm all for it. You know, I'm all fine with that. But, you know, this is just hilarious. This is what happens to them. This is what they get, you know? They called Donald Trump a racist in 2015 because he was saying, you know, we shouldn't support the Islamification of America and all this stuff. And people said that's xenophobic, that's Islamophobic, that's racist. And then, okay, so you let it happen, and then look what's happening to you now. Boomerang. You deserve it. You deserve it, okay? What can we really say? What can we really say? But anyways, thank you for the $20 Burgundy Blue. That was actually quite an interesting watch, to say the least. I did enjoy that video. Okay, dollar for $2 says we have aliens. They're from the third world. Thank you for the $2. It is true. It is true. We do have aliens. They're coming across, right? It's real. Thank you for the $2. Dollar for another $2 says thoughts on Mario Rios. He's kind of a nerd in my opinion. Who is that? Who is Mario Rios? Mario Rios. I don't know who this is. Oh, he's a bodybuilder apparently. I don't really have thoughts. I don't know who he is, but if he's a bodybuilder, then I mean, I guess I respect. At least he doesn't act like it. But I don't know. I've never seen him. Never heard of him. Thank you for the $2. Dollar for dollar. And let's take a look what else we got here in the live chat. JD for $2. Let me play the sound effects. Hold on. It's not refreshing. Okay, never mind. All right. JD for $2 says, libs forever expected fidelity of people they imported. It's true. Thank you for the $2, JD. It's true. It's true. Right? Who was raising the concerns about, you know, all this mass migration from the Middle East? Well, that's what you're getting now, right? How ironic would it be, too, if it becomes, I think it's going to take time, and I think there's a lot of barriers to this happening, but how ironic would it be long-term, right? Muslims become like a Republican voting bloc, you know, over time. Now, I will be fair. It's probably, realistically, there's a lot of obstacles to that, culturally speaking, because I still think there's a degree to which, you know, the war on terror and all that stuff kind of drags culturally in people's heads. But if it does happen, I will laugh. I will certainly laugh. You know, it's true. It's true. All those troublemaker kids, we need to send Scott Pressler up to that town in Michigan and get everyone registered to vote. Okay, Trump will win Michigan in 2024 if we do this. Okay, thank you for the $2. Thank you for the $5. No wait, yeah, thank you for the $2, JD. Burgundy Blue for $5 says, read the comments. The liberals are shivering in their boots. So thank you for the $5. I can imagine they are. Let's see what they're saying about this video. Oh my gosh, how dare these high school kids egg a house? I've never heard of that in my life. Yeah, people are definitely going to just make a huge deal out of it. Well, I'm reading the comments here and I actually see a lot of people just kind of ridiculing the rainbow more than I do ridiculing the kids. So I'm not honestly sure. I mean, some people are saying, "Oh, don't terrorize innocent people," all of that stuff. You know, I don't entirely disagree with that. I don't think that you should egg people's houses. You know, and I just overall would not encourage that. Now, it is your constitutional right to leave notes on people's houses and all that stuff, but you know, so you know, there are avenues, I would say, but I just think I just find it to be uncivilized. But it's teenagers, you know, and it's like people are making a huge deal out of egging a house, because that's just never high school kids have never egged people's houses in the history of this country, right? I don't think it's as big a deal as people are gonna make it, Yeah, it was like serious damage. Can't just clean it up. Yeah, exactly, right? It's annoying. It's kind of punk behavior, but is it really the biggest deal? No, it's not. No, it's not. But because and by the way, if it was just a random egging, no one would care. But my gosh, they did it over the pride flag. This is the hate crime. Okay, whatever. Dollar for $2 says that town in Michigan is the Muslim Zinc, Arkansas. Thank you for the $2, dollar for dollar. I suppose that's one way to put it. Thank you for the $2. All right, we're gonna end here around 9:30. So last call, ladies and gentlemen, for super chats. Be sure to send them in now, and we'll probably do a members block tomorrow night. But thank you for the suggestion, Burgundy Blue. I very much actually enjoyed that video. It was very telling. It was very telling, to say the least, right? If egging was allowed, imagine all the great power wash business. This is true. This is true. Lord Pepsi for $2 says Islam is right about women. I mean, I wouldn't say that entirely. I think in some regards, obviously, yes. But I'm not a fan of the burqa. I'm not a fan of all that Sharia stuff, right? But I think what Islam shares that is correct about women is what is also biblically in Christianity. But I think the difference is a lot of Muslims will actually live out what they believe in terms of gender roles, whereas at least in the West, a lot of Christians will pretend like the Bible does not say that that wives should submit to their husbands, and Eve was made as a helper to Adam. Of course, no, guys, right? So that's kind of my take on it. Right? Thank you for the $2 though, Lord Pepsi. They're more extreme, yeah, they are, but what am I gonna do? Yeah, Afghanistan, how dare you not let women go to school when America is sending kids to school and then showing them sodomy at the age of 6. So, it's their world. What are you going to do? It's their world. I prioritize saving the West from satanic liberalism before I care what, frankly, the Muslims do, to tell you the truth. So let's take a look here. All right, good night, Jonathan Fields. Good to see you. Do the American parties extend to the city level? I'm honestly not sure. Yes and no, I think. It's kind of like a yes and no thing. But let's take a look. Sandra, yeah, that was a prank when I was growing up. Never did it, though. Too far. Yeah. I don't endorse that behavior explicitly, but like I said, I don't think it's nearly as big of a deal or a grave evil as people are going to make it out to be, right? It's actually fairly common for teenagers to egg houses, and I don't think it should be the biggest deal. Burgundy Blue for $10, thank you very much, says, I'm glad you liked the video. The teens remind me of my Muslim family members and friends from high school. They were funny kids, I'll say. They were funny kids. Also, I swear the old hippie is the perfect representation of modern liberalism. No, I would say in some ways, but also he kind of tries to make this kind of old school liberal approach of to each their own, blah, 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 this and that. But I guess you are right. It's kind of is modern in a sense, because for years, what did they tell us again? They said, coexist. If you complain about the Islamification of the United States, you're a bigot. And then now what are they saying? You guys need to assimilate. They're teaching bad things in the mosque. Islam is homophobic. Oh my gosh. That's what you get, fools. That's what you get. This is true. Zeb Boykin says cities are 5 degrees hotter on average because of asphalt and lack of vegetation. See, that's exactly my point. It's true. But don't grow your lawn out, right? Don't grow your lawn out. So, all right, folks, it is now 9:30, so if we got no more super chats, let me check Streamlabs really quickly. I don't think okay, we're good. Let me check Rumble really quickly. Did anyone even tune into the Rumble stream? Let's see. We actually multi-stream for the first time on Rumble tonight. Let's see. Apparently we have 13 people watching on Rumble. Okay, so shout out to the Rumble viewers. What's up? We got 1 like on the stream. All right. We're basically balling at this point, all right? Big numbers. 14 now. Shout out to the Rumble people, okay? Appreciate it. But yeah, okay, I finally figured out how to stream on Rumble, so we might start doing the multi-streaming thing. You know. Feel free to watch on your platform of choice. We also do live stream to Twitter now. Oh, let's see. Can I become the next big Rumble streamer? Can I blow up? I want a contract. Hey, Rumble, where's my contract? No, but it is true. All right, guys, with that said, we're going to wrap up the show here tonight. Thank you to everyone who tuned in. Before you go, be sure to leave a like on the stream. Let's get this stream to 100 likes before the end of the night. And yeah, be sure to join us live tomorrow. Okay, I just saw... it was at 71 likes and it went down to 70. Who left a like on the stream and then unlike the stream? That is rude. Whoever did that, how dare you? But all right, until next time, ladies and gentlemen, Alpha moves only. God bless. Have a very good night and peace.